2021. Pretty exciting stuff. Just about ready to go live here. Want to do one more thing. I need to change the feed to public so everyone can get access to the live feed. All right, I think we're just about ready. Test. I make sure I didn't have a speaker on in the other room. Sound like I was getting feedback from the other room. I might have it turned on. I'm going to have to check real quick. Sorry, everyone. Give me 15 seconds. Yep, that was exactly it. I had the speaker turned on next door. All right, we're ready to get the show going. Happy New Year, everyone. This is Geek News Central. My name is Todd Cochran, coming to you from the new media production studio in Coldwater, Michigan. Some of the stories tonight include Singapore police will track COVID apps after saying they would not. Slack kicked off 2021 with a massive outage today. Julian Assange will not be extradited. And Eventbrite is being used to schedule COVID vaccine appointments. I want to welcome you to episode 1497 of the Geek News Central podcast for Monday, January 4th. This show is sponsored in part by GoDaddy.com and listeners just like you. Great deals from GoDaddy can be found at geeknewscentral.com/GoDaddy. You can support this show today. Yes, you can support this show today at geeknewscentral.com/insider. Hey, I want to give a warm welcome to all the brand new listeners of the show. Thanks for being here. Thanks for checking the show out. And of course, if this is your first time here, we want you to get over to geeknewscentral.com. Check out all the great content on the website. My writers are already at it, hot and steady, right here at the beginning of the year. So lots of new stuff. We're going to have a whole plethora of CES content coming at you here soon as well. So you definitely want to stand by for that. And possibly me participating in some CES live events. We're getting that kind of worked out from a schedule standpoint. But most importantly, when you're on the website at geeknewscentral.com, scroll down, get signed up for the newsletter so that you'll never miss a single episode to this show. We don't want you to, with subscribing to the newsletter gets you the show notes from the show, and subscribing to the podcast, you make sure that you won't miss an actual podcast. Yeah, it's been a few days since I did a live show, so feeling like a little rusty tonight. But anyway, thanks for checking the show out for the first time, and just get over there. You'll figure it out when you get to the website. Of course, you can join our chat room at geeknews.chat or our Discord channel. Those links are in the show notes. You can always contact me via email, geeknews@gmail.com, or on Twitter @geeknews. You can follow me on Facebook as well. All the partner shows are linked at geeknewscentral.com. That, of course, includes a new media show, the Pro Gear Guru site, the Gadget Professor, GNC Live, Podcast Legends, and, of course, the GNC Weekend Review done by our own executive producer, Kirk Corliss. And let's give Kirk a round of applause for his good job he did in 2020. And we're on to 2021, and looking forward to continuing that relationship and partnership as we move forward with the show. Of course, this show is sponsored and has the longest-running continuous sponsor of a podcast in the podcasting space. That's our good friends at GoDaddy.com. And you can save a lot of money, And all my deals are still ongoing. All you got to do is go over to geeknewscentral.com/GoDaddy, and you will find all of my promo codes, whether it be 30% off a new product purchase, $4.99.com on new transfer domains, $1 a month economy hosting for the first year with a free domain, or $1 a month managed WordPress hosting for the first year with a free domain. Those are all there to be had by you. And of course, a free trial of GoDaddy Website Builder, your choice of personal business and business plus plans. We'll see how we did in December in a few days. I haven't got my totals yet from GoDaddy for December, but we did decently in November. So I need all of you to step it up. It's a new year. I'm on the clock. I'm on the quota clock. And I definitely want you to consider a product or service from GoDaddy. You know, they've been a long time sponsor of this show. 15, almost going in June, it'll be 16 years. It's crazy. And I get to think about this here. I'm like, starting to lose track of how long I've been podcasting. It's insane. It really, really is. And we're on the march now to episode 1500. And it's pretty amazing. It really, really is. But anyway, I want to thank GoDaddy for their longtime sponsorship of the show and hope that you'll continue to sponsor them out. Of course, this studio has been designed by our good friends at Audimute, AUDIMUTE.com. And if you want some sound conditioning panels for your business, for your studio, for your home office, when you contact Audimute.com, reach out to Kevin. Say Todd sent you from Geek News Central. He'll make you a deal. You're going to get the best deal possible just because I referred to you. Many of you are going to continue to work from home, and maybe you just need a couple acoustic panels, just like we have in here, to keep that sound and make that sound more richer. So definitely reach out to the folks at Audimute.com. So all of you on Facebook, make sure you say hello. Rita, Happy New Year to you. Liz, how are you? Toby, how are you? Everyone, thanks. Thanks for being part of the family here. So I do want to say I've got some gifts that came in for the studio, and I'm going to try to figure out where to strategically place them, but I'll probably show them off on the next episode. So for those of you that sent a little gift or token appreciation, I definitely appreciate it over the holidays. It is greatly appreciated. But New Year's was relatively quiet. It was relatively quiet, and lots of stuff going on. I spent, I was awake for New Year's. I did have a little champagne. That was nice, and so it was good. But I think I was asleep at 12:05. Other than that, basically, I spent quite a bit of time, believe it or not, just getting stuff done, and over the weekend, and over the long weekend, and it was good. There was no new media show on Saturday, and it gave me some extra time to take care of some paperwork. I've actually got, now what's on my brain is 1099s and getting tax stuff around, because I will typically procrastinate, and then it'll be 2 weeks before business taxes are due, and my accountant will be screaming at me again. So I'm going to try to get ahead of that this year. We'll see. But a lot of YouTube, some Netflix. Had a movie recommended to me by my mom. But today I'm dragging. I had some stuff come up yesterday, some family stuff, and I didn't get to sleep until late. So today I'm getting kind of my butt's been dragging here, but it is a Red Bull night. So anyway, that's what's going on. Just kind of catch you up. I know everyone's kind of getting back in the swing of things as well. It's hard. It's, that you're like, you're saying, man, the holidays are over. Many of us got New Year's Eve or Christmas Eve, and then you had, of course, New Year's Day off, Christmas Day off, and then the weekend. So it's like 3.5 days off, right? And a friend of mine today texted me and said, "You're not going to believe this." I said I was late for work. And the sad part about it was the person's first day on a new job. Had been used to sleeping in, stayed up a little bit too late. That's a way to make an impression, right? You arrive late on your first day at a new job. So yeah, that's probably not the way to start the new year. But hey, it is what it is. So here's the plan for 2021. As I said on my show that I hope many of you listen to, my short little end of year show. If you haven't listened to it, please do. This year is really about kind of tiptoeing into 2021. Not going to get too excited, not going to get too crazy, going to plan for the best. I really have got to get back to number one, meeting with clients, being on, doing the things that I do to keep business rolling and all that stuff. And it's not going to happen in January. It's not going to happen in February. It's not going to happen in March. But maybe by the middle of April, I can start. Maybe we're getting the office populated again down in Columbus. We're having a big team meeting this week to talk about some of these things. But really, what we want to do is, get back to some normalcy as fast as I can. I did see something that there was in my town here. There's a Facebook group just for the town, and they were talking about the vaccines being administered. And I saw something from the New York Post that was saying something like, and they did like surveyed a nursing home and one hospital. So this was just 2 or 3 pockets of, it wasn't like this national thing. It was just a couple of little minor things. And 50 to 60% of the frontline healthcare workers said they were not getting the vaccine. And that was like, makes you go, huh? Makes you wonder, doesn't it? So we'll see where this leads. But I'm predicting, based upon everyone that I'm talking to and based upon the number of people that do not want to take this vaccine, that I believe it's going to be readily available for all of us that want to very, very quickly. I just think that's going to be the case, but time will tell. And that probably maybe leads into the first story that I'm going to talk about tonight. I didn't have them stacked exactly this way. We'll come back to it. But Eventbrite is being used in Florida counties. And have you ever went to used Eventbrite? It's big for like virtual conferences, for in-person events. It's just a great way you can have paid events. But Eventbrite is used to schedule in many Florida counties right now COVID-19 vaccine appointments. They say it's the easiest way to organize on short notice. So that's pretty cool. Maybe a little harder for elderly that may not be as computer savvy, because right now in Florida and most states are only doing 65 plus. And so if they are, an Eventbrite's not that hard. But I wonder if it'll be, for me, it'd be no problem. But for older folks, they may get a little confused about that. They had originally planned to use phone lines, but the first day the lines opened, people weren't able to get through the number, of course. And so they launched an Eventbrite so that within 24 hours of launching the Eventbrite, every vaccination slot in the county for the first vaccine shipment was taken. Manatee County officials use Eventbrite as a way to distribute vaccines quickly. Commission director for the Department of Health stated emergency management officials were already familiar with the platform. The state is instructing all counties to push the vaccine out as quickly as possible. He told The Verge in an email, the faster the dose is distributed, the faster the county will get additional doses. Isn't that interesting? So if you have a good, well-oiled machine, if you live in a county where you can get people vaccinated, you're going to get vaccine quicker. I think that's going to be key. So I think you need to watch in this county that I'm in. The way I'm seeing it, it looks like it's being very slow. I don't hear nothing except that some healthcare workers. I had a dental cleaning this morning. And I said, you guys already got your shots, right? And they're like, no, we haven't got our shots. And I'm like, you guys are frontline healthcare workers. Dentists may not be in hospitals, but dentists are getting, and hygienists are getting exposed to patients every day. Got exposed to me. I don't know who did, and I'm, working inside my mouth to clean up my mouth. But, you would think that they would be very, very high on the list. And she said, nope, we haven't heard nothing yet. I'm like, you've got to be kidding me. And we're already January 4th. And we're a couple weeks in on these vaccines. And you've got healthcare workers, which are, in my opinion, frontline, that haven't yet been vaccinated. So slow going some places. And I think what it really is going to boil down to is if it's just like anything else. The squeaky wheel gets greased, right? You're going to have to, when it comes your time slot, you're going to have to be aggressive and trying to get scheduled for an appointment if you decide that you're going to take this vaccine. So, but anyway, hey, Greg, how you doing? Thanks for checking in. Those of you on YouTube, make sure you say hello as well. Please do so. And, what's going on with YouTube? YouTube is complaining that I'm not giving them enough bandwidth. What's going on there? Huh. How's the video look on the stream today? Does it look okay? On Facebook, does it look okay everywhere? Okay, so wonder what's up with that. I didn't check the bandwidth before I started the show. So second article tonight, and this is one that really kind of surprised me here. Singapore has confirmed. Now, I've been to Singapore half dozen times. It's one of the cleanest countries you ever visit because you can get caned and whipped for, chewing gum and spitting it out, or just chewing gum. You can't chew gum. You litter, you're going to get three whacks. I mean, they're serious about keeping the country clean. And they have some very interesting rules, but that's Singapore. And I like Singapore a lot. Matter of fact, there's many times I miss getting breakfast in Singapore. The type of breakfasts they have there, Malaysian style, is just incredible. But anyway, Singapore has confirmed its law enforcers will be able to access the country's COVID-19 contact tracing data to aid in their criminal investigations. To date, more than 4.2 million residents, or 78% of the local population, have adopted the Trace Together contact app. So they've had 78% adopt it and or wear a wearable token, and it's one of the world's highest penetration rates. The EFF came out today and said, hey, this was predicted. And the EFF is not necessarily in favor of what's going on with these COVID tracking apps. But it said this figure is double the adoption rate just 3 months ago. But introduced last March, the Trace Together taps Bluetooth signals to detect other participating mobile devices within 2 meters of each other in effort to ease privacy concerns. Now listen to this. In its efforts to ease privacy concerns, the Singapore government had stressed repeatedly that the COVID-19 data would never be accessed unless the user tests positive for the virus and was contacted by the contact tracing team. Personal data such as unique IDs and mobile numbers would also be substituted by a remnant permanent ID and stored on a secured server. But now, the Singapore government has confirmed local law enforcement will be able to access the data for criminal investigations. Under the Criminal Procedures Code, the Singapore police force can obtain any data, and this includes Trace Together data, according to the Minister of State Home Affairs. He was responding to a question posed during a parliament on Monday on whether the Trace Together data would be used for criminal probes and the safeguards governing the use of such data. He said the Singapore government was the custodian of the contact tracing data, and stringent measures have been established to safeguard personal data. But they are going to give this information to the police to do criminal stuff and not necessarily related to COVID. Now, this should come as a warning. The government said one thing, and now they're doing another. According to pro-privacy, digital privacy, and VPN expert Ray Walsh, however, says the police could access data and could serve as a reminder why centralized systems are harmful to personal privacy. In a statement released in response to the news, As suspected location information collected in the centralized database for preventive spread of the virus can be also leveraged by the Singapore police. This means citizens' location data is to be stored in such a way that it is extremely damaging to their privacy, their freedom of movement, and their right to free association. This is extremely concerning considering the government is planning to make use of the Trace Together app mandatory for all citizens. Test and trace systems forced on the general public for purpose of preventing the spread of the pandemic have no right being used to create an extensive surveillance network. And extremely unnerving to see a soon-to-be mandatory app being exploited in this way. Think about that for a second. Now, China, mandatory utilization of the app. Mandatory. They've already got it in place. Trace tracking already mandatory. You have a mobile phone, has to be on it. Or you get a token. Australia, the police are already using the trace tracking to monitor people that are in quarantine. I saw a video today of an Australian police officer pulling over someone that was supposed to be quarantining and arresting them, even though that they'd only had casual contact with a person that had gotten COVID. They arrested them and took them to a holding facility. And they have to pay at their own expense to be at that holding facility. So where does this go? Where does this go? What's the next crisis that they're going to say is going to legislate and demand that we use this contact thing? I don't think Americans are going to put up with this. You know, the stuff has been installed on our phones already. The technology has been installed. It's not to say that Apple or Android could not be told by the U.S. government that they have to load something in the operating system that does exactly this. But already law enforcement can get access to our location data. So this is not much different than what exists today already. Because if they want to know where you have been, all they have to do is subpoena Apple or Google or one of those companies that have a location tracking app on there and say, where has Todd been in the last 72 hours? I want to know minute by minute where he was at. So maybe they don't have to install it here in America. Maybe we already have it. We're all carrying it around with us as we go everywhere. Flip phone, anyone? But this is the first country to announce that they're using this tech. I wonder how Google and I wonder how Apple feels about this. You know, Apple supposedly, quote unquote, is big on user privacy, but this doesn't sound like this is the case. It's just like me arriving in Hawaii and being asked for my papers. And it was actually a QR code. So, that's interesting, isn't it? Very, 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 very interesting. I think I just screwed myself up. I can't see you guys no more. Hang on, let me go back, make sure I can see you. So, and we'll see what the Biden administration does. You know, we'll see if they start mandating some of this stuff. You know, thank God the states still have some control. But by the way, Indiana, just 13 miles from here, is still open. You can get a restaurant. You can go to a restaurant and you can have a beer. But here in Michigan, no restaurants, no beer. Unless you consume it in your own home. That COVID doesn't cross the Indiana state line. All right, next story, Slack. Oh, man. Got in the office this morning after the dentist appointment. Got a cup of coffee. You know, check in with the team for a few minutes. Start doing our morning meetings. And Slack went down. Slack went down big time on the first full work day of 2021. The company said Monday morning customers maybe have trouble loading channels or connecting to Slack at this time. Our team is investigating. Well, yes, it did. Started at 10 a.m. Eastern, and it finally recovered at about 2 o'clock this afternoon. And who knows what happened here, but they had some major issues. So we don't know what caused it. They haven't said yet, but I resorted to just texting people on my team today. And we did have some meetings going on, so we were able to stay connected. We extended a couple of meetings because we weren't able to really communicate. Today was another Zoom day. I am absolutely zoomed out. That should be the word of this previous year we just left. But anyway, Slack was out. That just sucked. And for those of you that rely on it, you understand how important it is. Because I actually thought, I could actually send an email, but my team doesn't check email as much as they check Slack. So, we used to live on email. Now we live on Slack. It just shows you how certain tech really changes everything. I know many of you are Julian Assange fans. Of course, Julian Assange has had a number of issues. He's got, I don't know if he still has pending sexual assault charges or whatever it was, but Assange, an Australian citizen, and he is in custody, of course, because remember, he left the embassy. What embassy was he in? The Nicaraguan or something. But today, District Judge Vanessa Barrister told Assange this morning that there was no legal obstacle to his being sent to the United States, where he faces multiple criminal charges under the American Espionage Act and Computer Fraud and Abuse Act over his WikiLeaks website. But he will not be extradited to the United States from a ruling that was made. But it's not over. The next step is the U.S. government can appeal to London's High Court. Assange is also supposedly a suicide risk, and the judge decided not to order his extradition, despite giving a ruling which she demolished all of his legal team's other arguments against extradition. She says, I am satisfied that the risk that Mr. Assange will commit suicide is a substantial one. Adopting the conclusions of medical expert Professor Michael Kopelman, basically says he's suicidal. So there was a rumor he was being considered to be pardoned. Maybe that must not be true. I guess you have to be convicted of something first to be pardoned, right? And maybe that's a bad rumor. I don't know. But so he still might be extradited at some point. But for now, he's going to remain in the UK. And of course, the United States is going to appeal this. And there's going to be a formal application for bail will be made so that he can potentially get out of the prison he's in. But if he's, he was specifically admitted because he was had the suicide risk. Now, Edward Snowden, on the other hand, you guys know my thoughts on him. If those of you that listen to the show long enough, matter of fact, I can't believe that Edward Snowden is still walking. But he's in Russia being protected by Putin. And but right now, Julian Assange is one step closer to not being extradited, but he has to be careful. The U.S. has this tendency to swoop people up when they kind of get a little, how should we say it, complacent. So we'll see what happens with Julian Assange. It's been a while, right? Been a while. This has been going on since March of 2010. And remember, it's all about him assisting then Army. I don't know what they're now. He is now a she. The service member with the last name of Manning, and of course Manning did her time, and I don't know if she's still in jail or not. But anyway, long story short, here this is still ongoing, but this has been going on a long time, 11 years now. Amazing. All right, so not last thing, but I think I've covered all of the major first news stories, but I'm going to move into, I don't want to close that. Get into the rest of the stack of stuff I've got here tonight for you. Google workers have formed a union. They want a meaningful say in issues like harassment and discrimination. A group of 226 engineers and other Google workers have formed a union, according to an article and opinion piece in the New York Times called the Alphabet Workers Union. It is affiliated with the Communication Workers of America and was organized in secret over the last year or so. We're joining together temps, vendors, contractors, and full-time employees to create a unified worker force. Now, we know that Google has heavily resisted this. And they basically say we want Alphabet to be a company where workers have a meaningful say in the decisions that affect us and the societies we live in. The union represents a small minority of the company's 260,000 strong employees and contractor workforce. However, unlike traditional unions, the new group won't just do contract negotiations, but advocate for a more just work environment. Have you seen how people at Google get treated, their work environment? They have compensation packages that 95% of us would dream for. On-site daycare, free lunch, it goes on and on and on and on and on and on. They have an incredible package. I have a friend that works there, and he was explaining to me one time the healthcare package that he has from them is unbelievable. The Alphabet Workers Union will be open to all Alphabet workers, regardless of classification. They said adding that half of Google's workers are temps, vendors, and contractors who often receive lower salaries, fewer benefits, and have less stability. They are also more likely to be black or brown, a segregated employment system that keeps half of the company's workforce in second-class roles. Our union will seek to undo this grave inequity, according to the group. Now, if you remember, when Google was formed in 2004, it said it would be a good company. It does good things for the world, even if we forego some short-term gains. Its motto used to be, don't be evil. Well, we're long past that situation. And, of course, Google and Uber have all resisted unionization. And Google's been accused in the past, and we've covered it here in the show, by several former employees of retaliation over union activities. So we will see. We will see what happens to these 226 engineers. A pretty small number compared to the 260,000 strong. So we'll see how many people now are willing to jump on the unionization of Google. I think it would dramatically transform the company, just like it has in the early days, it was unions, in my opinion, were really outstanding, but I don't know. There's good and bad. And I know some of you are staunch union members, and, there's plus and minuses to anything. Never been part of a union, 25 years in the Navy, that, definitely no union there. Quibi, QUIBI, they have, they've shut down, and their shows are set to be sold off. And apparently they're going to be sold to Roku. And so they've set to strike a deal with Roku, transferring the rights to its content to the larger company. The exact terms of the deals have not been shared, and it may still fall apart. Of course, Quibi announced that it would be shutting down last October after failing to take off. We know that. So we'll see if Roku gets these shows. I don't know if that's good money spent. I'd have to go talk to Jim over at Roku about that. That just doesn't know if that makes sense at all or not. But Roku's trying to be, they got to compete somehow. If you look at what's going on with, with all these connected television sets now, I've got a TCL right here in front of me, and it's essentially a big Roku machine. But besides Netflix and a few other things, I don't use a lot of the Roku stuff like I used to. Microsoft is taking steps to scrub Flash from Windows. The arrival of 2021 means the departure of Adobe Flash players from PCs. And matter of fact, one of my Windows machines did just that the other day. It cleaned itself up. It took Flash off altogether. So they're going to disable the plugin on January 12th. Microsoft will be in charge of uninstalling the software from Windows PCs. And Adobe has recommended that users remove Flash from their personal computers to help secure the system, since Adobe does not intend to issue any Flash Player updates or security patches after the EOL date. So it's this is big. This is big. And now Microsoft seeded an update for removal of Adobe Flash back in October. And so you may have already seen this announcement on your computer. You may have been asked to execute and have that removed. NASA gets pumped for 2021 with hype video full of moon dreams and Mars hope. NASA's big plans for the year, but doing space is still pretty hard. Last year was a big one for space missions. We got manned missions back to the International Space Station after many years of the shuttle being retired. It's amazing how long we relied on the Russians. Now we don't have to write them a check. But the Russians are still lifting astronauts to the ISS. Most of them are from other countries now. The space agency released a video previewing and hyping its plans for the new year, and the moon is the star of the show. Why are we going back to the moon? Really? Honestly, does that make any sense? Of course, some of you don't think we went to the moon to begin with. I think they ought to land one of those missions close to a NASA landing site from the early days and show us some of that stuff that they left. Well, the video is full of hope and optimism. We know that the Space Launch System has delays. It's largely because of coronavirus pandemic. Parts. I'm having issues getting some stuff here, too, that I need because there's no parts. The first big test of the LSS and Orion spacecraft is in the works for 2021 with the Artemis 1, but we'll have to wait and see if the uncrewed mission is able to launch this year after all. And, of course, the Perseverance rover is set for a landing on Mars on February 18th, so we got that to look forward to. The, 21 minutes of hell or whatever it's called. If all goes well, it'll mark the start of a long-range plan to bring Martian rock samples back to Earth. And, of course, the much, much delayed James Webb Space Telescope is still on the calendar for an October 31st launch date. We have spent so much money on the James Webb Space Telescope. Everyone will probably be holding their breath all the way to orbit with this thing. And at the same time, the Hubble is well at its end of life, well close to its end of life. It's, they got a lot of the Hubble is operating and, systems have died. There's no way to go and repair it. So, I wonder what they would have to do if the James Webb Space Telescope had issues once they launched. But so watch the video, watch the YouTube video, NASA 2021. Moving on here. You need a COVID test? Well, California University makes getting your COVID test as easy as grabbing a candy bar. Vending machines are now Corona test as well. You can just pay the money and get a coronavirus test. What does it cost? Let me see here. As part of the university's return to load program, free kits for self-administration of COVID-19 tests are available through vending machines at 11 locations. The machines look like a regular snack machine, but contain individually packed nasal tests rather than potato chips or Hershey bars. There's a process to using the test. The tests have barcodes that work with a UC San Diego app. The university asks students and employees to return the test within 72 hours to drop boxes next to the machine. And students living on campus or coming to campus are required to test weekly. Weekly? What? If you live on campus, you have to do a COVID test weekly? Who's paying for that? UC San Diego's winter quarter started on Monday. The university has logged over 100,000 student COVID tests and over 28,000 employee tests. Majority of classes are happening remotely, though there are some in-person classes, including ones held in outdoor classrooms. Why? Throughout fall, these are young people. The campus proactive strategies to detect and prevent SARS have proved effective. The campus positivity rate have remained far below average. Test weekly. That's crazy. Absolutely crazy. Virgin Media, for those of you in the UK, your broadband prices are going up to £54 in 2021. The average rise would be 4%. So that is 13 times higher than the current consumer price inflation rate. It plans to invest £1 billion in its network this year. Virgin did not raise prices as normal in 2020. Other internet providers expect to announce similar or larger inflation-beating increases soon. For example, British Telecom changed its terms and conditions last year to say it would increase broadband prices by 3.9% above the CPI rate, which is for this year is due in 16 days. So they think that British Telecom's prices will rise by 4.2%. But anyway, Virgin Media says they're going to do £1 billion investment. But a bunch of other companies are trying to come on the scene as well. The link will be up in the show notes on that. So less jobs, more lockdown, more charges for internet access. Microsoft is hinting at coming sweeping visual rejuvenation of Windows 10. They are looking for UI folks to help with their cleaning up the whole Windows 10 UI space. There's been rumors around now about a significant visual refresh planned for Windows 10 in 2021. And by job postings, there was one that was out there that they've recently changed. It basically says a job posting in October that offered prospective senior software engineer hires an opportunity to deliver sweeping visual rejuvenation of Windows experience to signal that Windows is back. So Microsoft is hiring. Very, very cool. Hey, Carlos, thank you for joining in. Ticketmaster. Now, think about this for a second. Let me read the headline. And we know how aggressive Ticketmaster is. You know, matter of fact, you ever try to buy a ticket from Ticketmaster? If you have actually been successful in getting a ticket to a conference or a concert with Ticketmaster, please email me, because I've never been able to get a ticket to a concert through Ticketmaster because of all the scalper scripts. But anyway, Ticketmaster, ironically, it admits it hacked rival company before it went out of business. Ticketmaster used stolen passwords and URLs, guessing to access confidential data. They've agreed to pay $10 million criminal fine after admitting its employees repeatedly used stolen passwords and other means to hack a rival ticket sales company. That, ladies and gentlemen, is insane. The fine, which is part of a deferred prosecution agreement, Ticketmaster entered with federal prosecutors, resolved criminal charges filed last week in federal court. Charges include violation of the Computer Fraud and Abuse Act, computer intrusion for commercial advantage or private financial gain, computer intrusion in furtherance of fraud, conspiracy to commit wire fraud, and wire fraud. Wow. In the settlement, Ticketmaster admitted that an employee who used to work for a rival company emailed the login credentials for multiple accounts the rival used to manage pre-sale ticket sales at San Francisco meeting attended by at least 14 employees of Ticketmaster or its parent company. The employees used one set of credentials to log into an account to demonstrate how it worked. The employees who wasn't identified in court documents later provided Ticketmaster executives with external and confidential financial documents he'd retained from his previous employers. The employee was later promoted to director of client relations and given a raise. Wow. The charges against Ticketmaster come 26 months after Zishan Zadi, the former head of Ticketmaster Artist Services Division, pled guilty in a related case to conspiracy to hack the rival company engaged in wire fraud. Wow. Did he get any time? So anyway, this has been going on since 2015. $10 million. This fine and prosecution couldn't have happened to a finer company. I am not a Ticketmaster fan at all. Byton Partners with Foxconn, but extends shutdown. Now, Byton, B-Y-T-O-N, is a Chinese electric vehicle startup. And the pandemic and everything, it's probably one of the few Chinese companies that suffered because all the other Chinese companies have been at full capacity working to supply Amazon and everyone else with the stuff we buy from them. Chinese EV startup Byton has signed a manufacturing deal with iPhone maker Foxconn, which could be worth more than $200 million. In exchange, Foxconn, which has been eager to get into electric vehicles, will provide Byton with advanced manufacturing technology, operation management expertise, and supply chain resources. So it sounds to me like Foxconn just got their hands on a big chunk of that company. So we'll see. All we need is Chinese electric vehicles on the street. Samsung will reveal S21 family. It unpacked on January 14th. So they're wasting no time. They expected to see the latest Galaxy S family at the event, which is coming earlier in the year than usual. The new devices will be the Galaxy S21 Ultra with its new S Pen support. There's a leak that reviews the new S Pen and the clunky cases that go with it. The event will begin 10 a.m. Eastern on January 14th. Stream live on YouTube. So is this in a part of CES? I'm wondering. So if you're a Samsung user and you have on their auto upgrade program, the S21 family is coming. Comedy Central, MTV, and more are coming to Hulu's live TV service. None of those channels are really important to me. There's going to be 14 more, though. There's going to be, under expanded distribution, 14 more Viacom CBS cable networks are on the way. Hulu Plus, live TV in the form of a BET, Comedy Central, MTV, Nickelodeon, Paramount Networks, VH1, CMT, Nick Jr., TV Land, BET, Her, MTV2, Nicktoons, Teen Nick, and MTV Classic. CBS Sports Network, and the CW, the Smithsonian Channel, and Pop TV remain on Hulu as part of the deal. You'll be able to add a Showtime as a premium option as well. None of those, and how much is the cost going to go up? None of those are appealing to me at all. Opt me out. But I don't have Hulu TV. So remember, Viacom CBS has its own streaming platform as well called CBS All Access. So lots of competing options out there for your money. Venmo? Any of you use Venmo? I loaded Venmo on my phone once. Really not a user-friendly app. But Venmo's mobile app can now cash your checks. You don't have to use your bank app to make a deposit. Venmo's bid to becoming your banking hub now covers your checks. The PayPal-owned brand is launching a cash a check feature that's in its Android and iOS apps, so you deposit money without using your bank app or visiting a physical location. Why would you deposit a check that you got into Venmo to your bank? Why wouldn't you use your banking app? Even my small town bank here has a decent banking app where I can scan the checks and upload them, and I don't understand this. Checks clear quick, too, within a couple of hours. You'll pay a fee to deposit most checks. Why would that you don't pay a fee to deposit your check with your regular bank. This makes absolutely no sense. Over on MacRumors.com, Apple is going to unveil what's called AirTags. It's an augmented AirTags, an augmented reality device, and more in 2021. This AirTags item tracker is an unspecified augmented reality device and other new products. I read that wrong. Apple plans to release this long-awaited AirTags item trackers, an unspecified augmented reality device, and other products in 2021. So the AirTags are expected to help users keep track of their personal belongings, such as their keys, wallets, and backpacks, and will notify users on their Apple device when they are separated from a tagged item. Now, this has been rumored since 2019. As for augmented reality devices, Apple's widely rumored to be working on an augmented reality headset, glasses, or both, all priced about 10 times higher than it should be. New AirPods, more Apple Silicon Macs, its first devices with mini LED displays. So lots of rumors. So we'll see what actually comes out. Discovery Plus is launched today, and it's available on Fire TV, Roku, and more. So these two platforms typically left out streaming launching services. So Discovery waited until the last possible moment to announce where you can stream content from Discovery Plus. But now that the service is officially available in the U.S., the company has finally shared the information. The list of places where you can download Discovery Plus is extensive, with almost every platform being available, with the exception of the PlayStation 4 and PlayStation 5 was included in the company's launch. So Discovery Plus, look for it. Discovery Plus will set you back $5 a month. For the base tier, it's an extra $2 every month if you don't want to see any ads. So you're going to pay $5 and still see ads? Now, here's some channels I can get into. HGTV, Food Network, Animal Planet, TLC, and, of course, Discovery. So, we can't escape. A la carte is coming by the actual providers, not through our cable services. Massachusetts, if you plan to live there and you like your gas-powered vehicles, Massachusetts plans to ban the sale of new gas-powered vehicles by 2035. By 2030, the state hopes to have more than 1 million EVs on the road. Well, you need to get busy putting EV chargers everywhere. So, of course, Governor Gavin Newsom announced California would ban the sale of new gasoline and diesel-powered vehicles by 2035. Massachusetts said it now plans to do the same as part of the state's 2050 decarbonization roadmap. So passenger vehicles account for 27% of the statewide emissions of the state to have any open, meaning its plans to reduce emissions to 45% below 1990 levels by 2030. EVs will play a significant role. And as of last year, there are approximately 30,000 electric vehicles on state roads. And there's a lot more of that. There's probably 1 million actual vehicles. So gas-powered vehicles. But I'm saying you, there's not if you ask me here where I live right now, where there's an EV charging station, I would shrug my shoulders. I haven't seen one. Not a one. I haven't really been looking for them, but they're pretty obvious when you see them. Even the local Home Depot doesn't have a charging station, and every Home Depot in Hawaii has one. So, a lot of people that live in apartments and condos, they have no way to charge their vehicles. None. People that have homes, yes. But I tell you, if you own an apartment complex, you put in EV charging stations, you probably charge a lot more for rent. T-Mobile's been hit with yet another data breach. Some customers call records accessed. T-Mobile believes approximately 200,000 customers were impacted by the breach. And who specifically? Our cybersecurity team recently discovered and shut down malicious unauthorized access up to some information related to your T-Mobile account. We immediately started an investigation with assistance from leading cybersecurity forensics experts. While the hackers weren't able to access any sensitive information such as names on the account, email addresses, credit card details, social security numbers, or passwords, some T-Mobile account information may have been impacted. The hackers were successful in accessing what is known as the Customer Proprietary Network Information, CPNI. The CPNI accessed by hackers may have included details such as phone numbers, number of lines subscribed to, and call-related information. And this isn't the first time that T-Mobile has had a data breach, so looks like they got some work over there to do. Certain models of PlayStation 4 console are not being restocked now that the PS5 is here. Despite claims it would continue to support PS4 consoles after the release of the PS5, Sony seems decided won't be manufacturing certain models of the PS4 console anymore. So here's the models. PS4 500 gig Glacier White, PS4 1 terabyte Jet Black, PS4 1 terabyte Glacier White, PS4 2 terabyte Jet Black, PS4 Pro 1 terabyte Glacier White are not being restocked. So new PS4 models may not be available. Sony is yet to confirm or deny. According to the shop signs, the models that Sony have discontinued are what I've read. You can still buy a PS4, but you can also buy the PS4 Pro model. However, once stock of those consoles, no more likelihood of new stock appearing is slim to none. And good luck getting a PS5. Still in short demand. All right, over on CNET.com, they've got a list of launch calendars. Every rocket launch, Mars mission, meteorite shower, and more. They've got a great list of everything that's going to be going on in 2021. Now, of course, early 2021, Starship SN9 test. Of course, we know the SN8 had a eventful landing. Boom. February 18th, NASA Perseverance launcher. March 29th, Boeing Starliner OFT-2 launch. March 20, what could go wrong? March 2021, the Large Hadron Collider powers up again after its refit. April, May, China's Tianwen-1 rover lands on Mars. May 26th, a total lunar eclipse of the flower moon, and on and on and on. So, all space events on this article on CNET. There was an app that was being introduced on the App Store called Amphetamine. Apple is all set to ban amphetamine from the App Store due to its name and logo. But they've recently changed their mind. Amphetamine is an app that prevents Mac notebooks from going into sleep mode. Apple believes its developer was promoting illegal drugs use through ambiguous branding. After public outcry, however, the App Store team have taken a look at the app and reversed their decision, allowing amphetamine to stay up with its current name and logo. So, apparently, an Apple representative informed the developer on December 29th the app's name and icon seemed reference controlled substances and pills. The argument left the developer dumbfounded because amphetamine does not promote the use of controlled substance in any way. But just the logo appeared to be the issue they were having. He was asked to change the app's name and remove the pill from its icon, or the amphetamine would be removed from the Mac App Store on January 12th. He's complied with the request, so Apple has reversed his decision, and amphetamine remains available in the store as confirmed. So, it's probably not a good idea to put an app out called amphetamine and make it look like a pill. That probably would get most companies' reaction. And amphetamines are a real problem for a lot of people. Music listings soared during lockdown, of course. More than 155 million albums were bought or streamed in 2020. British artist Lewis Capaldi, Harry Styles, and Dua Lipa were the three biggest sellers of the year. Wow. BPI boss, and this is a BBC, so it's a UK related. BPI boss Geoff Taylor said the remarkable figures were a reminder of how important music is to our country, even when our lives are disrupted. So no platinum albums, at least in the UK. So 155 million albums sold in the United Kingdom. So very, very interesting. All right, moving on. Now, this is a really crazy article. SpaceX, now listen to this. SpaceX plans to catch super heavy rockets with the launch tower. Up until now, SpaceX rockets have always landed by deploying legs around the rocket as it returned to Earth. And if new remarks from Elon Musk are accurate, the company wants to get rid of that method to save weight. Well, it also, those legs are millions of dollars each because they're titanium. He says future spacecraft may not sport legs at all. The Super Heavy launch vehicle is the first stage launcher for the second stage craft known as Starship. Super Heavy will still use its engines to control its descent similar to the current Falcon 9, but it will use its grid fins to control orientation and flight. According to Musk, he believes it doesn't need legs to land. After a reader asked Elon if a user-created video captured by the Super Heavy descent profile accurately, the founder of SpaceX dropped the announcement. He says, we're going to try to catch the Super Heavy booster with the launch tower arm using the grid fins to take the load. Wow. So I'm assuming, now, I let me look at the video. They got a little video here. It's only 10 seconds. It's not very big. So it's going to land like it's supposed to, and then the tower is going to engage it to keep it from tipping over. The implications seem to be the rocket bears its own weight directly in the grid fins, and that the catch is more about lining up the rocket with the launch arm in a way that allows them to interlink again, as opposed to using the launch arm somehow brake or control the Heavy as it descends. Wow. Saves mass, cost of legs, enables immediate repositioning a booster onto launch mount, ready to refly in under an hour. Did you hear that? They want to refly a stage within an hour? That is incredible. Now, if you think about sci-fi writers, they've predicted Earth-Moon or Earth-Mars shuttles leaving every hour, with a little more than a refueling required before the next journey. Now, that's a stretch. But currently, the world record holder for the most reused rocket is B1049. A SpaceX booster has launched and been recovered successfully 6 times. But Super Heavy doesn't need to refly in an hour to revolutionize space travel. NASA's best record for putting the same shuttle into orbit is 55 days, and most of the refreshes took considerably longer. A reusable rocket that could launch once per month would be a dramatic leap ahead of anything NASA achieved. So we'll see where this goes. Exciting times. I hope I live long enough to see a relaunch in an hour. Samsung Galaxy Buds Pro leaking hands-on video. It's $199 true wireless bud. It's leaked again. When it's leaked this many times, it looks like it's promotion. But if you're not an Apple EarPods user, well, you can look at the Galaxy Buds Pro here in the link in the show notes. Nick, okay, we've already talked about that. Let me close that. Had some duplicate articles. LG is going to show a 40-inch bendable OLED gaming display at CES 2021. So 48-inch bendable OLED gaming display. Wow. The key here is bendable. Bendable OLED. So, according to LG, it can be therefore be turned into a flat screen while watching TV and used as a curved screen while gaming. Oh, you can curve it and then you can flatten it out. Wow. Wow. Wow, wow, wow. Finally, a couple of finance issues going on. A company called Color raised $167 million funding at 1.5 valuation to expand last mile of U.S. health infrastructure. So their healthcare startup. So they got $167 million in Series D funding round. That's a big amount of money. And another one is LiDAR startup Avaya. So LiDAR is a technology. LiDAR startup Avaya raises another $200 million ahead of its debut as a public company. Avaya, the LiDAR company started by two former Apple engineers, raised an additional $200 million. They've got post-market valuation of $2.1 billion. And so they've raised a total of $360 million. So they're going to go public here. Anyway, that's going to wrap up the show, except I know I have an email in here, and let me get that loaded up. Not that one, Todd. I'm waiting for it to load. I'm a little behind on the... Let's go to GNC comments. Got an email from Marvin. And he sent me a document called Book of Broken Promises. And it's about a $400 billion broadband scandal that basically where Verizon, CenturyLink, AT&T... I didn't get the whole document. I only got the first page. Okay. So, anyway, has anybody seen this, the Book of Broken Promises? Marvin, do you have let's see if we can get a link to that. I'll see if I can find it anywhere else. So, Marvin, thank you for sending that. So, also got an email from Rob. He said he had trouble subscribing to the newsletter. And I tested the other day, seemed to work. I'll check it again, Rob. I know you're having problems, but he says all of Ontario is locked down. So you're close, Ontario. Very, very close. What else do I have in here? I think that's it. That's all that's come in. geeknews@gmail.com is the email address. Of course, don't forget about my sponsor, GoDaddy, geeknewscentral.com/GoDaddy. I can be reached at Geek News on Twitter, geeknews@gmail.com, of course, via email. We went long tonight. Wow, about an hour and 8 minutes. Kirk knocked it out of the bar park for a show length. But anyway, I'll be back on Thursday for a regular show. I'm trying to figure... I don't know. The show will continue as is, I'm pretty sure, all the way through January. I don't expect any change to the schedule. I'll let you know if there is, but I think we'll just continue to pump them out 2 a week like normal. And anyway, we're on the march to 1,500. The way I look at it here is that today was 1,497. So that means 1,498 this coming Thursday, 1499 next Monday. So if everything goes as scheduled, the 1500 show and it's ironic, the 1500th episode of this podcast will happen on January 15th. It is kind of weird, right? 1-15. Well, you really can't use that. The 15th. So, anyway, that's when we'll celebrate the 1500th episode of the Geek News Central pod. Oh, shoot. No, the Thursday is the 14th. Crap. Looking at the wrong date. I just hyped it up for nothing. Well, you guys will get it on the 15th because, most of it's recorded the night of the 14th. But anyway, January 14th will be episode 1500. What should we do? It's a pretty monumentous number for any podcast. If you think about it, 1,500 episodes, and we're 3 away. I thought I was going to get through that in December, but it just didn't happen. But what should we do? I don't have a budget to give a bunch of money away, but we should do something. And if you want to donate something to the 1500 show, let me know. The address, I believe, to the studio. I don't know if I've got it in the show notes or not. I'll start including it. But if you want to send something for the 1500 show, you're more than welcome to do so. Become an insider. Let's have about 10, 15, 20, 30 of you donate $1,500. That would be awesome. That would make the whole year. Yeah, only 30 of you, $1,500 a piece. That covers everything for the year. So that's all. Or we need 45 of you at 1,000, 90 of you at 500. So maybe that's what we'll do, is make it a push for a big Geek News Central Insider donation time. If anybody comes in at $1,500, I think I would faint. We're not like the No Agenda show that gets $1,000, $1,200, $1,500, $2,000 every episode, and multiples of those. If none of you have listened to No Agenda show, they do an amazing job. They have amazing listener support, but I think they have a pretty incredible audience size-wise too. Maybe 500,000 people listen to that show. But anyway, thanks everyone for being here. Thanks for being part of the family. And I look forward to being back with you on Thursday, getting more back in the groove. Won't be stuttering as much and finding my way through the show. But thanks for being here, and drop me an email. Let me know what you think. And we're going to do some best of stuff, maybe. I don't know. But again, happy New Year to all of you. May it be a prosperous 2021. Sadly, I know many of you are out of work. When I was in Hawaii, Shoko, actually the day after I left, Shoko got the word that she was being laid off from her job. So she's looking for new work. I found out today that my youngest daughter and her husband are planning on departing Hawaii this month and heading towards Washington State, I think. So, big changes going on. And they've got jobs lined up, I think, already. They've been working that and trying to get their car shipped here directly. So lots of things happening as people are departing the pattern out of Hawaii. But other than that, we'll be back with you here on the 7th. A day that will live. No, actually not. That's December 7th. Duh. We'll be back. I'm delirious. I'm tired. Everyone take care. We'll see you next time here on the Geek News Central podcast. Bye-bye.